So as someone who stuttered for many years, I know firsthand how deflating that feeling is when people project or people think that you're kind of a dumb and stupid person, when in reality, your problem isn't IQ, your problem is your stutter. And because of your speech impediment, it's causing people to assume that you're less smart than you really are. So in today's video, I want to share a few tips for starting the process of overcoming your stutter and how to start commanding respect from the people you have conversations with. Before we dive in though, let me make something very clear. I fully believe in accepting certain aspects of reality as exactly that, reality. The reality is the way that you speak is directly correlated to how people will perceive your level of intellect. So first off, if you're going to be cynical about other people's prejudiced views of you because of your speech, then this video is not for you. Because guess what? You make those exact prejudice observations with the people you meet. You do it automatically. And so you can't be cynical about other people doing that to you. We all do this. So let's not abandon reality and let's instead focus on how we can maximize our level of competence in our speech and how we can position ourselves in the world to live a fulfilling and stutter-free life. Let's get into it. So I got 4 tips I'm going to walk you through today. Tip number 1 is stretch your words. Now I'm being very intentional about the language that I'm using here. Notice how I didn't say slow down. I said stretch your words. The reason for that is it's the same reason I don't like telling people who stutter to relax. Oh, just relax, right? It's the same thing. I don't like to say just slow down. Yo, slow down. It's like, no, that's too vague. We need to be more precise. And stretching your words is a much more potent way of building fluency than to just use the vague, oh, let's just slow down. Obviously, you don't want to stretch all your words. Don't talk like that. Instead, just every few words or so, pick a word that you want to accentuate, like I just did, accentuate, and stretch it out. Simon Sinek is one of the best examples of someone who does this brilliantly. Watch this clip and notice how he stretches his words and how that engages you and how it makes his speaking style much more compelling than it would otherwise be.
And the real job of a leader is not about being in charge, it's about taking care of those in our charge. And I don't think people realize this, and I don't think people train for this. When we're junior, our only responsibility is to be good at our job.
So don't forget to stretch your words, right? This can be a game changer. It can really help slow you down, relax, and it'll make you sound much smarter because it lets people know that you're confident. Because what do unconfident people do? They rush through and they speak really fast because there's this underlying fear and this scarcity mindset of like, oh, if I stop talking, then I'm going to lose everything. It's like, it's not true. You can command respect by stretching your words and speaking, and thereby speaking slower. Okay, tip number 2 is use these guys. Hands. See, most people who stutter shrink, right? They become weak, they shrink up, they narrow their body, or they curl themselves up, both physically and psychologically, and they certainly don't use their hands when they speak. Now, there are a variety of reasons why using your hands is such a powerful communicative tool, but there's one idea that I really want to focus in on and use as the reasoning for this, and it's what I call tension distribution. See, in some sense, you need bodily tension in order to speak. The question is, where is that tension located? Because if the tension is in all the wrong places, like your neck and your tongue and your feet, then that tension becomes a direct hindrance to the speaking mechanisms, which then can very easily cause you to stutter. But like I said, in some sense, tension is always going to be there when you speak. So it's a matter of relaxing the right musculature and adding some healthy tension to the right musculature. So first off, the muscles you absolutely want to relax are your neck, like I said, your tongue, your feet. However, there are 3 specific places where I want you to direct the tension that you feel towards. Number 1, your abdomen. So feel that support. Don't shrink, right? because that can very often cause you to stutter even more, which is why, again, saying relax is like, just relax. Yeah, you'll probably stutter more when you do that because you're not supporting your speech system. So that's one. It's okay to feel a little bit of energy and tension and support in your abdomen. The other one is your lips. And you've probably never heard anybody say this before, because I haven't either. But when you have this sort of tension in your lips and you direct it to your lips, again, not your tongue. Your tongue should feel like it's on Novocaine, right? So it's this tension between, not the right word to use there because we're talking about tension and release. Anyway, it's this kind of combination of tension on the lips, but very relaxed tongue and very relaxed jaw, right? But then kind of build that tension and articulate and have that sort of consistent tension like I'm doing right now. And finally, going back to where we started, one of the best places to direct that bodily tension to is your hands. This will be especially helpful for you if you're in an uncomfortable or stressful situation, or you just feel social anxiety, or you feel like you're about to stutter. Use your hands. Remain confident. Don't shrink. Use your hands. And yes, you feel tension. The key is focus that tension to your hands, your abdomen, and even your lips. Here's a great example of how to use your hands when speaking.
Let's say that we're going to play repeated trading games. And if you're very agreeable, then you're going to bargain harder on my behalf than you're going to bargain on your own behalf. Whereas if you're very disagreeable, you're going to do the reverse. You're going to think, I'm in this trading game for me, and you're going to take care of your own interests. Where an agreeable person is going to say, no, at best, this is, at worst, this has to be 50-50, but I'd like to help you every way I can.
Okay, tip number 3 is pause before answering a question. Now, the word pause is a bit of a convoluted topic in the stuttering realm because there are bad ways of pausing and good ways of pausing, and it's sometimes hard to differentiate between the two. One example of a bad form of pausing is, let's say you ask me, what is the best coffee shop in my town, which I'm in Colorado Springs, so I would say, the best coffee shop is Switchbacks Coffee. Go Switchbacks. But if you ask me that question, the wrong way for me to pause would be to oh crap, what am I going to say? Okay, I'm going to say this. Okay, yeah, so the best, and then I stutter and yada, yada, yada. Instead, what you want to do is pause in a very confident and what I'm going to call abundance mentality sort of way. What I mean by this is the opposite of an abundance mindset, obviously, is a scarcity mindset. What do people who have a scarcity mindset, how do they talk? They don't pause. Why? Because there's this underlying feeling of, if I pause, I'm just going to lose everything, right? It's not logical, but that's kind of the drive. It's like, if I stop talking, I just have to keep talking. I can't pause. If somebody asks me a question, I have to answer right away. It's like, yeah. So going back to the question again, let's say you ask me, what is the best coffee shop in my town? I could say, you know what? It's definitely, I gotta say, Switchbacks Coffee. The best coffee that I've had here in the Springs, and great people, great atmosphere. So as you heard there, I paused, but it didn't pause in this anxiety-ridden sort of way, like, oh crap, what am I gonna say? No, I just paused to relax. I paused because I have an abundance mindset. And it's incredible what silence can bring to a conversation. It's unbelievably underrated. And every great speaker knows this. Every great comedian knows this. Your silences and the gaps between your phrases, it just pulls people in even more because there's this sort of implied tension that just makes it so much more compelling instead of always rambling. It's like, no, you stop and you pause. So let me show you an example of this from Tom Holland. Notice how when he's asked a question, he doesn't feel the need to jump right in. No, he has an abundance mindset, even though he's probably nervous because he's on TV, he's on live television. He pauses. He doesn't feel he doesn't respond to the urge to have to ramble and answer immediately.
Did you get it done? Did you get your Christmas shopping done?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I just honestly, I'd finished the Spider-Man press tour and I was so busy and I was so tired that I just didn't do it.
All right, now before we get to the final tip, I just want to let you know real quick about my free Stop Stuttering workshop. If you've ever needed a daily routine, a step-by-step plan to really propel you and start overcoming your stutter, this is really going to help you. What this is a 45-minute workshop that is going to help you achieve 90% fluency in as little as 6 weeks. Sure, it might take longer than that for some of you. For some of you, you can do it a lot faster than that. This isn't a one-size-fits-all, but this will really help you out, and it's going to help you get that momentum going to start building your stutter-free life. So link is in the description. It's 100% free, so be sure to check it out. All right, let's move on to tip number 4. All right, finally, tip number 4 is act confident even when you start to stutter. So when you're in a situation, when you're at a drive-thru or you're talking to a friend, and you can feel yourself start to slip and you start to stutter, the most natural thing is to let that slippery slope happen, right? That's just biologically, that's what we tend to do, is we shrink, we fold, and then it becomes a slippery slope where it just gets bad, gets worse. But I'm here to help you overcome your stutter, and this is something that you have to resist. And this is why I say, act confident even when you start to stutter. Another way of saying it, act confident even if you don't feel it. So you want to be very aware of your posture, not only when you're speaking to someone, but also before and after, just in everyday situations. Do a self-check. Am I slouching? Am I coming off as very weak and shriveled up? Or do I have my shoulders back and my chest out and my head up? Am I making eye contact with people? Studies have shown that you don't need to feel confident in order to act confident. That's not the chain of events that needs to happen. It's often the inverse is actually what works. You first act confident, and that in turn makes you then feel confident. So forget all the, oh, you're being inauthentic to yourself type of bullcrap. Throw that out the window. Even if you don't feel confident, you gotta act confident. Because you know what? If you're not confident, you will never overcome your stutter. Ever. So you gotta act confident even if you don't feel it, and especially when you start to stutter. If you start to stumble over your words a bit, recuperate, keep your shoulders back, keep your chest out, keep your head up. Don't shrink. Don't let yourself fall down that slippery slope. And this will not only make you feel better, but it will make everyone around you feel much more comfortable. Because even if they can see that you're struggling and you're having a hard time with your speech, if you remain smiling and confident and you're projecting in a positive way, they are going to feel much less stressed and uncomfortable. All right, my friend, those are 4 tips for today for helping you overcome people's assumptions of you for being less smart than you really are because of your stutter. So if you want to dive deeper, go check out my Stop Stuttering workshop. It's really going to help you out. This workshop, which is about 45 minutes in length, it's in depth, and this will give you a step-by-step daily routine to help you achieve 90% fluency in as little as 6 weeks. Link is in the description. It's 100% free, so be sure to check it out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, my friend.